Protect your privacy online with the best VPN for gaming, ExpressVPN, and visit expressvpn.com/ghilliemaster, linked in the description, to find out how you can get 3 months free. We're just past the 1 month mark since the contract DLC released, and like every update, I like to wait a few weeks after it comes out in order to see how it sets in with time after the whole honeymoon and hype phase is over before I do my review. So with that being said, today I'm going to give my complete review of the update. I'm going to go over what it did well, what it didn't do very well, and everything in between, going over the gameplay, missions, vehicles, weapons, and giving my thoughts on them after playing it for a month. In gameplay content for this update, we received one VIP contract with the Dr. Dre storyline, a variety of different security contracts, the new payphone hits, and the short trip missions that act as sort of an epilogue to the VIP contract. The DLC acts as more of a story mode expansion compared to any other update that we've had in the past, and what I mean by that is once you beat the main VIP contract and short trip missions once, there really isn't a desire to replay them. The payout for the Dr. Dre contract is just a measly $1 million, and the preps that you have to do to get to that final payout take much longer than just doing the Kai Perico heist, which pays you way more than $1 million. However, for that first playthrough, you will experience the most amount of narrative references and cutscene quality that I would have to say we've ever seen in GTA Online. Franklin and Lamar being at the center of the update really helps push that. Just the dialogue in general while you're driving with Franklin or watching a cutscene really gives you that same feeling that you get when you're playing through the story mode of GTA 5. But just like any story type of game, playing it again and watching the cutscenes again doesn't really give you that same feeling, which is why the replayability of this update is kind of lacking. It's not like a heist style of update where the mission is designed strictly for replayability, where there are different, methods of completing the mission with random loot spawns that serve to try to make it different each time you play it. It's very linear in terms of the gameplay. The same can be said for the short trip missions afterwards as well. In a way, this is kind of a small co-op story expansion of Franklin and Lamar. I had a lot of fun jumping in and playing this for the first time. Just the banter back and forth between the characters is really entertaining and the cutscenes are funny. But after beating the missions, there isn't a desire to replay them unless you want to just play them as the other character to complete the challenge for that $100,000 reward. I do have to knock off some points though for the short trip missions because the final cutscene kept crashing the game for me when I played it, so I ended up having to replay the entire final short trip mission like 3 or 4 times, which was really annoying. But that was really my only gripe with those missions. The update being themed around Dr. Dre and having his music featured for the update was cool. It's neat to see a real person in the GTA universe, although I'm not really sure what this does to the series going forward in terms of lore, because GTA has always been about putting parodies of real life people in their games, but now we actually have a real life icon, Dr. Dre, in GTA Online. In the end, I feel like it was more of a marketing move though, just to be able to say that Dr. Dre is in the update to draw more attention to it, because while it is neat that he's in the game and you can go to the studio and listen to him and all that stuff, the music doesn't really add anything to the gameplay. This is a video gamer playing, so gameplay is the #1 priority. What does add to the gameplay though are the new security contracts and payphone hits. These are what you're going to spend the majority of your time doing in this update and are really where the bulk of the replayability lies. For the security contracts, the missions themselves aren't anything special. They revolve around a few separate objectives that are all very simple and not necessarily new in their design. You got the typical go here and steal a vehicle, go here and steal something from a safe, eliminate gang leaders, rescue someone. They really aren't the most complex missions in the world. However, they do offer another new mission variant in free mode that can be accessed easily by just calling Franklin. And in my opinion, these are a lot better than the usual headhunter or other client jobs that we have right now. There's also an incentive to grind the security contracts because as you complete more and more of them, your daily passive income will increase at the agency safe up to a maximum of $20,000 per day once you reach 200 contracts completed, so it gives you something to work for in the end. The gameplay loop also flows perfectly into the next mission type, which are the payphone hits. For the older GTA players out there, these will remind you of accepting missions from payphones in some of the older GTA games. And these are my favorite missions in the new update. Not only do they just fit in with the lore of the update, because Franklin was actually the one in single player that was accepting those Hitman style missions from Lester at the payphone. So it kind of makes sense how Franklin is now the one that is issuing these missions to us in online. But they're also just different than what we have seen before. The assassination bonus makes you complete the mission in a different way each time for a big cash reward. So instead of just blowing up every target with a hoeing missile on an Depressor Mark II, sometimes you'll have to blow up a target with a gas tank using a sniper rifle, or run them over with a caddy, or kill them with a gas tank explosion by driving a taxi into it. They're just little mini challenges for the missions. After you play them for a while, you will of course see all of the variants, but that huge payout of $85,000 with the assassination bonus instantly makes these missions worth doing once the 20-minute cooldown is over. And as I mentioned earlier, the gameplay loop flows perfectly between the security contracts and the payphone hits. For example, you can start up a security contract, complete it, and then call Franklin again and do a payphone hit while the cooldown is going on for the security contract. And then after you complete the payphone hit, you can then do another security contract. Some of the payphone hits are better than others, but that's just the case with anything. Some of them are just going to be better than others in the end. Even so, they are one of the best parts of the update for me. Another big positive of the contract update is the agency itself. This is by far the best place to spawn in when you get to online now. The agency property has everything that you need. You can refill your snacks, buy new weapons, Mark II weapon upgrades, special ammo for those Mark II weapons, armor. You have a 20-car garage that you can request vehicles from to spawn in when you go outside, a free helicopter ride, a free fast travel service. It has way more utility than any other property we have seen so far. A part of this update that I think most people enjoy are the vehicles, especially the new UNEDITED vehicles and the addition of UNEDITED in general. Instead of selling two versions of a vehicle like they have in the past with an armored and a non-armored variant, they just have made it so the armor panels are an upgrade, which is so much better. I don't know why they didn't do that to begin with. And the armor is actually very balanced on these new UNEDITED vehicles. They actually can take a few hits rather than just two. In similar style armored vehicles of the past, these would just blow up in 2 RPGs or like 2 homing rockets. Now they take 12 homing rockets. And finally, Rockstar have added something to deal with the annoying homing missile meta with the lock-on jammer, so you can now feel safe driving a normal vehicle again without worrying about getting locked onto, at least for some of the cars. Because the unfortunate part is that it's only available on a few vehicles when this tech should be available for every single civilian or non-weaponized vehicle in the entire game. I do think they also missed the mark by not adding a UNEDITED on at least one of the new motorcycles, at least a lock-on jammer. If they didn't want to have a remote control bike just driving around, that would be a little weird, but having the lock-on jammer on a bike would have been nice. The vehicle selection in general I enjoyed. The Patriot, Buffalo STX, Champion, and Ignis are my favorite ones personally. If I had to say one negative thing about the vehicles though, there might be a bit too many SUVs in the contract DLC, and I wish we could have seen another couple of new cars aside from another Baller and a Comet S2 convertible. I really wasn't a fan of those. The weapons, I feel they really dropped the ball on. We got the heavy rifle, which was cut from the initial release of the game 8 years ago, and although it's cool to finally see it officially in game, it doesn't really feel that different compared to every other rifle that we already have. I wish they would make weapons more unique in the way they fire or handle. It just feels kind of lazy in its design if you ask me. And one thing that's confusing to me is why they seem to have ditched the whole Mark II weapon feature. Like, when was the last time we got some new Mark II weapons? Was it Doomsday Heist 4 years ago? I thought that when they added that feature, that was kind of the next generation of how weapons would be added with their superior weapon mods, customization, camos, and tints to apply to that weapon, and different ammo types as well. But since then, it's just been back to the usual old way of adding the weapons with adding one scope, a suppressor, extended mag, and then calling it a day. Which is kind of silly because these weapons, the heavy rifle costs like 400,000, and it's basically the same thing as the others, if not worse than the other Mark II weapons. The Compact DMP launcher, you guys know how I feel about that. Completely missed opportunity to make a really cool weapon using already existing assets like I did for the rebalance. Instead, we got a copy and paste of the original Compact grenade launcher just with an EMP effect. And the stun gun, it's just a stun gun. It might be funny to troll your friends with, but that's pretty much it. Very overpriced too. The weapons are probably the worst part of this update. In summary, I enjoyed the contract update for the most part. Out of 10, I would probably give it a 7, with points being taken off due to the lack of replayability of the main VIP contract and also the weapons being bad. Every update always has an aspect that really changes the game that is remembered for years to come. For example, Doomsday Heist has the orbital cannon, After Hours has the Oppressor Mark II, Kai Perico obviously has the Kai Perico Heist being the main moneymaker now. This update will be known for the lock-on jammer, and I think the payphone hits will still be done by players months, if not years from now, after even we get more updates. In future DLCs, I would like to see the mindset feature expanded onto more vehicles and potentially even unarmed aircraft. There's definitely some room for improvement there. But let me know what you guys thought about the contract update. What are the parts that you liked about it, and what did you dislike about it? Drop a comment down below. And if you enjoyed the video or found it helpful, feel free to leave a like as well as subscribe to my channel for more content. Huge thank you to all my channel members for your support. If you'd like to become a member for some exclusive perks, you can either use the join button or the link that's down in the description. And as always, thanks for watching and have a great day.